Hello students, how are you? I hope you're doing well, feeling well, doing all your work, treating your substitute well. The last time you were in English class, you read the section of the Beowulf poem called Grindle. Grindle's our villain. He's a monster. He lives in the swamp. There's a section from the reading that calls him the son of Cain. Let me stop just a minute. Some of you have Bible backgrounds and others don't, but just in case you don't, remember that in this section of literary history, we're in a transition from paganism to Christianity, and so there are several references to biblical references in Beowulf and other things that we'll read. Let me tell you about Cain. There were two brothers, Cain and Abel. They were the sons of Adam and Eve, who were sent from the garden after their sin. And Cain and Abel were workers. They worked the fields. They labored to make their living, to make food for their families. And Abel raised cattle, and Cain grew vegetables. Well, God asked for a sacrifice for their sins, and Cain brought vegetables that he had grown, and Abel brought an animal that he had raised. And Cain's sacrifice was not acceptable because God asked for a blood sacrifice. Well, this made Cain very angry. And when Abel was out in the fields away from where they lived, Cain killed his brother. Well, God asked Cain, Cain, where's your brother? And he said, I don't know, I'm not my brother's keeper. And God said to him, you have killed your brother. Your brother's blood calls to me from the ground. And God cursed Cain. God didn't kill Cain, but he cursed him. And so what we have here in Grindle is we have a monster, a villain that's cursed. He bears the mark of Cain. And he's evil, totally evil. And what he does in this story is he's in his lair. That's his house. A lair is a monster house. Ooh. And he lives in the swamp in his lair, and he is disturbed because there's a loud party going on. And he hears the loud party, and it just makes him furious, and he is so angry, and he determines to get revenge for being disturbed by this terribly loud party. And so he waits until all the party goers have gotten drunk and gone to sleep or slouched out on the floor, and he sneaks into the great hall, Hrothgar's hall, called Herod, and he kills many soldiers, and he pulls them apart, and he tears them apart and eats them, and partially eats them, and he carries some of them back to his lair, and he is just giddy with happiness that he has been able to wreak all this terrible all these terrible things, and to create havoc. And of course people wake up, and they're the ones that are not harmed, and they are distraught because so many people have been killed by the terrible Grindle. And that's all that's in this first part.